She threw my engagement ring into the lake, then smiled like she just won. Not a nervous smile, not a sorry one. A slow, twisted curl of her lips like my heartbreak was entertainment. And the worst part? It was my best friend who did it. Tara, the one who held my hair back when I was sick. The one who cried with me when my mother passed. The one who said she'd die before betraying me. But there she stood, hand outstretched over the railing, holding the small velvet box I'd hidden in my drawer, meant for the love of my life. My hands trembled as I shouted, "What the hell are you doing?" She looked at me almost bored and said, "You don't deserve him. Neither of you do." Then she let go. Splash. Just like that, everything I was building on in a ripple. I ran to the edge, knuckles white on cold metal, eyes scanning the black water. Like I could somehow bring it back. Like maybe if I dove in fast enough, this could still be fixed. But that ring was lost, and something else died with it. She walked away, heels echoing on the wooden planks like a countdown. I couldn't move. My heart slammed in my chest, not from grief but disbelief. My mind was screaming, why? But my mouth wouldn't open. Why would she do this? How long had she hated me? How long had she been watching my happiness and planning its funeral? I replayed her words again and again. You don't deserve him. And suddenly, it clicked. Her late-night calls to him when I was asleep. The inside jokes. The subtle glances when they thought I wasn't looking. It wasn't just about the ring. It was about him. She didn't just throw away my engagement, she wanted to take him for herself. And something snapped inside me. I thought I knew what betrayal felt like. I thought I'd experienced pain before. But that moment? That was the first time I tasted vengeance. I wiped my tears with the back of my hand and whispered, "You'll regret that smile, Tara." Because I may have lost a ring that day. But she was about to lose everything. Before the betrayal, my life felt like a fairy tale written just for me. I wasn't rich. I didn't have fame, or a perfect family, or some glamorous life. But what I did have, what I thought I had, was love. Real, stable, arms wrapped around 2 a.m. love. The kind people spend their whole lives looking for. And I had her. Tara. We met in high school, two awkward girls hiding behind oversized sweaters and eyeliner. She shared her lunch with me the day I forgot mine, and I gave her my jacket the day it rained, and she didn't have an umbrella. From there, we became inseparable. Not just best friends, soul sisters, as she liked to say. She knew everything. My middle-of-the-night fears. My childhood scars. The way I liked my coffee light, no sugar, and the songs I played when my heart felt heavy. She even helped me pick out the dress I wore the night I met Ethan. God, Ethan. He had this quiet, charm-kind eyes, a voice like velvet, and a laugh that made people lean in just to hear it again. Tara had dragged me to a charity gala she was photographing. I wasn't in the mood, but she insisted. Said the universe was trying to tell me something. Turns out, she was right. Just not in the way I expected. That night, I bumped into Ethan literally. Spilled wine all over his shirt. I panicked. He laughed. And instead of being upset, he said, "Well, I guess this means you owe me a drink." That drink turned into dinner. Dinner turned into morning coffees. And before I knew it, we were waking up next to each other, dreaming about a future with shared toothbrushes and sleepy Sunday mornings. Tara loved him, or so I thought. She'd always say things like, "He looks at you like you're the only person in the world," or, "If he ever messes up, I'll personally bury him." I trusted her. With my secrets. With my joy. Even with Ethan. Some nights, when he and I argued about something small, she'd be the one I ran to. She'd listen, pour wine, tell me I was overthinking. "You guys are perfect," she'd whisper. "He's lucky to have you." And I believed her. Because she was Tara, my constant, my person. Looking back now, I see the cracks I ignored. The way she held eye contact with him a little too long. The flirty teasing I brushed off. The night she offered to drop by and check on him when I was traveling for work. I didn't question it. Because trust, once built on years of shared laughter and tears, feels unshakable. Until it isn't. I had everything. A man who adored me. A best friend who knew me better than anyone. And a future that looked so bright I didn't see the shadows forming. I loved them both with a kind of innocence I can never get back. And they loved the power they held in lying to my face. It started with a message. Not one meant for me. One that slipped through by accident, an unsent screenshot still open on Tara's phone as it lit up beside mine during a lazy Sunday brunch. I shouldn't have looked. But something about the way she snatched her phone back, cheeks pale and pupils sharp, told me everything I needed to know. Tara, what was that? I asked, my voice already trembling. She forced a laugh. Nothing. Just work stuff. But I wasn't stupid. Her hands shook as she held her glass. Her eyes kept darting to the door like she wanted to run. That night, when she left my apartment early claiming she had a headache, I did something I never thought I'd do. I checked Ethan's phone. He was asleep. His back to me, soft snores rising and falling like waves. I told myself I just needed peace of mind. Just to see there was nothing there. Just to prove I was paranoid. But what I found, it hollowed me out. A hidden folder in his gallery locked, but not well. The password was my birthday. Inside? Pictures. Dozens. Of her. Some selfies, some not. Ones I didn't take. Moments I wasn't part of. Him kissing her neck. Her in his hoodie. A shot of them holding hands on our couch. A video short, shaky of him whispering, "God, I wish she wasn't home tonight." I wanted to scream, but nothing came out. Just silence. Cold. Bone deep. I backed out of the folder, dropped his phone on the carpet like it burned. My hands were numb. My body felt like it belonged to someone else. I stared at the ceiling and counted every crack, trying to convince myself this wasn't real. Maybe it was old. Maybe it was from before. Maybe it didn't mean what it clearly meant. But then I remembered Kara's voice just last week saying, "If you two ever break up, I'd still choose you. Always." Lies. So many lies dressed as friendship. The next morning I waited. I watched them. The way Ethan avoided my eyes, too quick with his kisses, always in a rush. The way Tara lingered near him at gatherings, always finding reasons to sit close, whisper jokes, touch his arm. And then one final, damning blow. I followed them. I needed to see it. To feel it. They met at a bar on the 7th. Not our usual place. Some low-lit dive I'd never been to. She wore the scarf I gave her for her birthday. He looked nervous like a schoolboy with a secret. They didn't talk much. Just drank. Smiled. Held hands across the table. Then she reached into her purse and pulled out the ring box. My ring box. She opened it. Showed it to him like a prize. And he laughed. They toasted to it. That was the moment. The moment I stopped being sad. I left before they saw me. Walked into the cold night without a coat. My tears didn't even fall. They were frozen inside me, hardened by disbelief and rage. They had stolen my love, my trust, my future. But I wasn't going to beg. I wasn't going to break. I was going to bury them with a smile on my face. I didn't cry that first night. Not even when I saw them kiss. Not even when I watched Tara toss my engagement ring into her purse like it was a souvenir from a game she won. I went home, locked the door, sat on the floor of my bathroom and just stared. Not at anything in particular. Just space. Time. My own reflection in the mirror, blurry through mascara-smudged eyes. The silence was unbearable. It screamed louder than any sob could. I wanted to scream. I wanted to fall apart. But I couldn't. My heart didn't know how to breathe quietly anymore. Instead, I started writing. Day 1. I feel nothing. That scares me more than pain. At least pain means you're still human. Day 2. I keep thinking it's a dream. But I see her face in every corner. I smell his cologne on my pillow. My bed is haunted. Day 5. I haven't eaten. My stomach's a knot of acid and memories. Day 9. They chose each other. So I choose something too. I choose revenge. Mom came by a week in. She knocked and knocked. I didn't answer. When she finally used the spare key, she found me lying on the couch in the dark, eyes open, blank. "Oh, sweetheart," she whispered, rushing to me. "You look good, you look hollow." "I'm fine," I said. My voice was sandpaper. "You're not fine," she snapped. "Tell me what happened." And so I told her. Everything. Every screenshot. Every kiss I saw. Every fake laugh Tara ever gave me. She sat there in silence, her hand gripping mine so tightly my knuckles turned white. "You don't deserve this," she whispered. "You gave them everything." That night, she stayed. Made me tea. Rubbed my back while I shook with silent sobs at 2 a.m. But no matter how tightly she held me, she couldn't hold together what they had shattered inside me. The worst part wasn't the betrayal. It was a humiliation. How many people knew? How many watched me smile, clueless, while my best friend stole my fiancé behind my back? I began seeing a therapist, at my mom's insistence. Dr. Patel. Kind eyes. Calm voice. She listened like she was stitching my pain together piece by piece. Grief, she said, isn't always about death. Sometimes, it's about the death of who you thought people were. That hit harder than I expected. Who was I, now that everything I believed was a lie? I'd write letters to Ethan on our anniversaries, little poems, inside jokes. I gave Tara birthday cards with handwritten notes, scrapbooks of our memories. But now? Now, I was a ghost walking through the ashes of a life they burned down. One night, I stared at a framed photo of the three of us, me in the middle, Ethan's arm around my shoulder, Tara pressed against my side. We were laughing. Pure, open-mouthed joy. I smashed it against the wall. The glass shattered, but the photo stayed whole. Fitting, I thought. Some things break beautifully. Some rot in plain sight. That night, I looked in the mirror and saw something new in my eyes. Fire. They thought I'd fall apart. They thought I'd fade, disappear, maybe even beg. But I wasn't made for quiet exits. I was made for slow burns, for poetic justice, for rebuilding my soul with steel and spite. Tara always said I was too soft. She was wrong. I wasn't soft. I was quiet. And quiet women remember everything. Revenge didn't come to me in a scream. It came in a whisper. A whisper that said, "Don't just get ahead." For weeks I played the grieving woman. Quiet. Withdrawn. Healing, as they called it. Ethan didn't know I knew. Neither did Tara. And I made damn sure it stayed that way. I dyed my hair darker. Subtle. Elegant. I changed my wardrobe sleek. Confident. Minimalist. No more soft pinks or floral prints. I became unrecognizable to them but deeply familiar to someone else. His name was Noah. Ethan's oldest friend. The one who drifted from our circle years ago after Ethan accidentally stole a startup idea from him and passed it off to his investors. Noah was brilliant, quiet, rich now, and angry. Perfect. I ran into him at a mutual friend's birthday dinner. On purpose, of course. He looked at me, blinking like he was trying to process who I was. "Damn," he said finally. "You looks like power." That was the moment it started. We talked. Not just about Ethan. About everything. Business. Art. Psychology. We laughed more in that one night than I had in months with Ethan. I told him the truth. Not all of it, but enough. Enough for him to say, "I'm in," without hesitation. "I don't want to destroy Ethan," I said. "I want to dismantle him. Slowly. With elegance. I want him to watch his world unravel and never know I was holding the string." Noah smiled. "You always did think in chess moves." From there, the plan began. First, we leaked a whisper into the investment circle that Ethan's app the one that made him rich had security flaws. Investors started asking questions. Ethan scrambled to control the narrative. He was never good with pressure. Second, I made friends with Tara's new coworker at her law firm. Just casual lunches, drinks after work. I listened, smiled, gave nothing away until I found out about the upcoming promotion Tara was desperate for. I also found out she plagiarized part of her portfolio. Oops. An anonymous tip found its way to the board. Just enough to delay the promotion indefinitely pending investigation. Small fires. Strategic strikes. All while I smiled from the sidelines. Sweet. Innocent. Healing. But the real shift, the most satisfying change was internal. I started working out again. Boxing, mostly. There was something about hitting that bag, over and over, until sweat blurred my vision and rage turned into rhythm. My trainer asked me once, "Who are you fighting?" I answered without hesitation, a version of me that tolerated betrayal. I journaled, meditated, burned the old photos and flushed the ashes, not out of weakness, but as a ritual. I was sharpening. One night, I saw Ethan at a bar. He didn't see me. He was laughing with Tara, one hand on her thigh. For the first time, I didn't feel pain. I felt distant, like watching actors in a play I'd already read the ending to. They didn't know the second act had already begun. And I was the playwright. The wedding was flawless. Ethan stood at the altar in a crisp charcoal tuxedo, beaming like the world belonged to him. Tara stood beside me, dressed in pale rose, holding my bouquet, her smile soft and sickly sweet. My heart didn't race, not like it used to, because today wasn't about marriage. It was about the finale. Every move had led to this moment, every whispered seed, every silent step. And now I pulled the trigger. The reception hall was bathed in amber light. Crystal chandeliers shimmered overhead. Guests clinked glasses and danced as soft jazz played in the background. Laughter floated like perfume in the air. Then the lights dimmed. "Ladies and gentlemen," the DJ's voice echoed, "the bride would like to share something special." Gasps echoed as the screen descended behind the head table. Tara looked confused. Ethan furrowed his brow. I stood, champagne in hand, and said into the mic, "Marriage is built on trust, truth, and full transparency. So, here's a little behind the scenes from the people closest to me." The video played. It started with security footage from Ethan's office the late nights, the lingering touches with Tara, her sitting on his lap, his hand sliding up her thigh. The date stamp was clear. 3 weeks before he proposed to me. Gasps turned into stunned silence. But I wasn't done. Next clip, Ethan's voice, recorded during one of his calls with his assistant. "Don't tell her anything about the second account, all right? If she finds out about the offshore funds, I'm screwed." I turned to the crowd. Turns out love wasn't the only thing he was hiding. Murmurs spread like wildfire. Ethan stood now, red-faced, storming toward me. "What the hell is this?" Tara sat frozen, mouth slightly open. "You think you can humiliate me like this?" Ethan shouted. I stepped off the stage, walked up to him, calm as stone. "No, Ethan. You humiliated me. I'm just giving you the microphone." He lunged to yank the mic away, but Noah stepped in. "Touch her again," Noah said quietly, "and you'll need more than a lawyer to fix what's coming." "Wait, Noah?" Ethan blinked. "You?" I smirked. "Oh, did I forget to mention? He owns the building your startup leases. And he just doubled your rent." Tara stood suddenly. "You manipulated everyone." I turned to her. "Funny. That's what I said the day you threw my engagement ring in the trash and laughed about it." She paled. "You knew?" "I watched from the hallway," I whispered. "You said it wasn't real love, that I was just a placeholder." Tears welled up in her eyes. "I didn't mean save it." I turned to the guests. They betrayed me, lied to me, built a future on my back and spit in my face. I let them. Until now. A beat of silence. Then applause, hesitant at first, then swelling. Not for revenge. For truth. I walked away, bouquet still in hand, veil trailing behind me like a ghost. Noah followed, saying nothing, just placing a steady hand on my back. Outside, under the night sky, he asked, "Feel better?" I looked up at the stars. "No," I said, "but I feel free." The morning after the wedding, I woke up to silence. Not the kind that feels empty, but the kind that feels earned. No calls, no knocks, no apologies. I sat in bed, still in my white silk nightgown, staring out the window as sunlight filtered through sheer curtains. The world didn't look different, but I did. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't pretending. I had spent years being the good girl, the patient's fiancé, the peacemaker, the one who swallowed pain with a smile, who let others cross lines thinking love meant forgiving the cuts they left behind. But that version of me was gone, buried under the weight of betrayal, resurrected as someone sharper, clearer, unapologetic. Ethan tried to call me later that afternoon. 8 times. I didn't answer. He sent texts. "You didn't have to do it like that. We could have worked it out. You ruined my life." No. He ruined his. Tara emailed me. A novel of regret. She said she never meant to fall for him, that it just happened, that she was lonely and jealous and stupid. Maybe she was. Maybe she still is. But I didn't reply. Instead, I closed my laptop and went for a walk alone through the park where Ethan once proposed to me. The bench was still there, under the willow tree. But the memory didn't hurt anymore. It didn't sting or ache. It was just a ghost. Familiar, but powerless. Weeks passed. The gossip faded. Ethan's company took a hit, clients pulled out, investors went silent. Noah didn't say anything publicly, but everyone knew what he'd done. Subtle revenge, dressed in real estate and numbers. Tara moved to another city, or so I heard. She lost a few brand partnerships after the video leaked. Turns out betrayal isn't good for business. As for me, I didn't chase peace. I just let go. I started writing again, nothing big. Just journal pages at first. But then I pitched an essay to a magazine, then another. Suddenly, my inbox was full of editors asking for more. Stories about women, betrayal, power, and what it takes to survive heartbreak without losing your soul. I rented a cabin in the mountains for a few weeks. Just me and the cold air and the wild quiet. No wedding planning, no lies, no filtered photos. One evening, I sat by the fire with a glass of wine and asked myself the question I'd avoided for so long. Was it worth it? The public revenge, the scorched earth, the ruined reputations. And the answer came softly like an exhale. Yes. Not because it healed me, but because it unburdened me. I wasn't carrying their guilt anymore. I wasn't the victim of someone else's cowardice. I was the author of my ending. I made them feel what I felt: confused, exposed, shattered. And then I walked away. Some people call that petty. I call it balance. Months later, I attended a wedding, not mine, not his. A friend's. Noah was there, dressed sharp, standing in the back with his hands in his pockets. We shared a glance across the aisle, a quiet nod. No romance. No expectations. Just understanding. He came up to me during the reception. "You look good," he said. "I am good," I replied. He smiled. "You know, I heard Tara cried watching your wedding video." I raised an eyebrow. "Did she?" He leaned in. "Sobbed, actually. Said she never realized what she lost until it was too late." I sipped my champagne, slow and steady. That's the thing about throwing something away. Sometimes you don't know its worth until someone else picks it up and polishes it. We didn't talk about Ethan. We didn't have to. The scars were still there, yes, but they didn't throb anymore. They just reminded me of where I'd been, what I'd survived, and what I'd rebuilt. I'm not the woman who waited. I'm not the girl who begged. I'm the one who stood in white, smiled through fire, and walked away unburned. And now, I sleep soundly. Not because they're gone, but because I am free.